How about now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Test, 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 test. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Anna. Nydia. Wildflower SG. All right, give us a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, hold on. We're gonna get this. No sound still, audio. There we go. We're good. All right, just took a second to kick in. Mime Cape Ann, yes. Hi, Nancy, Jessica. Okay, good, good, good. Awesome, awesome. Cool. Yeah, we're set up here at Georgeanne and Karen's Wellness Center, right?
Yes.
In Essex, Massachusetts. So this is Georgeanne.
Nice to meet you, everyone.
And here's Karen.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing, ladies? It's great to see you again.
Good to
Yes.
see you too.
So yeah, welcome to our YouTube world here.
It's exciting. It's a new platform for us.
Yeah.
So, very exciting.
So True North Hypnosis. So Annalie, if you want to drop in, I'm going to put the link down here for you if people want to learn more. This is truenorthhypnosis.com to learn more about Georgeanne and Karen's business. Okay, so obviously their first appearance here on Bridge Cape Ann, so a big welcome from all of you would be very nice. There are the hellos coming in. So what I thought we'd do tonight is get to know Georgeanne and Karen a little bit, break the ice for everybody, learn about what they practice here, why they practice, why it's so important to them, et cetera, et cetera. We can field questions also in the meantime, if that is helpful too. We talked about this yesterday. We were going to do a walkthrough recorded, and then, but Georgeanne said she actually wants to answer questions in real time.
Why not?
Yeah. So my history with Georgeanne and Karen. So I've known Georgeanne forever. I mean, it's been more than 20 years now because I had a book out 20 plus years ago, and you were one of the very first people to actually carry the book in your shop because
That's right.
Georgeanne also owns Sea Meadow Gifts and Gardens. So that's another, what's Sea Meadow Gifts is that? Right, Sea Meadow Gifts, right?
Yes.
So this is Georgeanne's shop right in front of us over here. So you can look that up as well. It's beautiful. And so she carried my book forever. She has a beautiful shop, everything from, what do you carry there?
Oh, gifts for babies. We actually seek out artists and craftspeople and do a lot of locally made gifts. We are very interested in gardening. And now we're also carrying things that go with True North. The books, the cards, the crystals, those kinds of things. So yeah, it's an old house and there's 4 different rooms, 4 different main rooms, a couple of hallways, and each area has a different subject. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and gorgeous gardens as well, right? The sunflowers, when are they going to be popping up?
I know, those have to be
Get a little
planted
bit
first.
Oh, really?
Yes. One time Corey was with us and there was a sunflower that grew way over his head.
Yeah.
I think it was like...
Not too hard to do.
Yeah, it was probably about 16 feet tall. It was pretty
huge.
fun. Yeah.
I never realized how heavy the head of a sunflower. They're like
With all those
pie
seeds.
plates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, and Karen, I actually met at Sea Meadow Gifts years ago.
I
You
think
had
I was
a
doing Reiki. Wasn't I doing Reiki for Pink?
yeah,
Pink Day.
I think for a Purpose Day, right? It was a
For a
fundraiser for
purpose.
breast cancer research, and Karen was performing Reiki, and you did it on me.
Yes, I did.
And actually, you actually nailed my ailment. I remember.
See,
I
and
definitely
don't
remember your hands
anything, so
over
that's
my
always
stomach. You're
good.
like, Corey, there's something going on here, and there was something going on there,
Good.
which was
It's nice to have a little heads up sometimes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. And that was how many years ago were we doing that? 5 now?
More than that.
A lot more than that?
Because it was
No.
it was like one of the first pinks.
It was probably 12 years ago.
Because then after that we moved the healing over here, and we were sending people back and forth. But we were in the little back room there for
Okay.
a couple of years.
Good, good, good. So now, can everyone hear Karen and Georgeanne okay? Just let us know, because I'm a shouter, and they are not shouters, so let us know about that. But
Can be.
yeah, right off that, Reiki is awesome. There's Jessica. Hello, Sharon. Good to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Thankful Mom is here too. I hope so. She's our 3rd moderator. So.
Oh, nice.
All right. So right off the bat, let's talk about True North Hypnosis. Okay, how did this come about, and what actually goes on here in your wellness center?
Well, we started out as True North Hypnosis. It's a very long story, but we decided we were going to be trained to be hypnotists, and we found an excellent, like a world-renowned woman who had semi-retired, and she took us on, and we trained with her for over a year. So we could do the clinical hypnosis, medical hypnosis. It was a wonderful program. And then Georgeanne said, well, let's find some space. And so we started out in the little building in the back of her yard there, which I wanted to tell a little bit about that building, which
Yeah,
is
the little
fun.
studio is part of Sea Meadow, and we call it the studio. The former owner who owned the property where Sea Meadow is was a world-renowned model shipbuilder, and that was his workroom.
Did you ever
And
go
Eric?
there? No, it's
Not him?
Mm-mm.
Wait a minute.
JW is what I call him. So that was his little studio, and he had his tools in there, and his beautiful workbench is still in there. And when we were starting to do work, we would have class in his studio. And we would teach meditation in there. We started doing some mediumship. And with the little groups that were in there, different people at different times, without knowing previously, would say, who's the man that's in here? What is he doing over there by the vise? And we would need to explain who he was. And he's long passed. And he would come and visit, and he left us the message that he thought it was very funny that women were in his workshop because women were not supposed to be or were not allowed in his workshop when he was there.
A few times he did some door banging though.
Yeah.
Some of them were like, what's going on?
Yeah. Opening and closing the door. And
Just letting us know he was visiting.
Yikes.
Yeah, but it was fun.
It was very fun.
It was mediumship, so it was a good thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of the,
Well, so now how did things evolve from there to here?
wow.
Well, this building previously was a barn with a big office. And we decided that we were going to remodel the office in the barn to do our work. And while we just started planning and thinking about it, we had a fire. And that was
Did you
Corey.
cover that fire?
Yeah, I was
Corey
around. Yeah.
Yeah, Corey was very supportive. It was a 4-alarm fire. It took the whole barn. So sad as that was, in the long run, it gave us the opportunity to rebuild, plan, and think very carefully about what we wanted to do here for our wellness center. So here we are now. And so we've been
A lot
here
more
6
space.
years. Yeah. Everyone that comes in says, my gosh, it feels so good in here. You're so relaxed, and so it just feels good. Which-
Serenity.
Yeah,
Good-
which
good
makes us feel
energy.
good too. Yeah.
So, okay, so what practices are you practicing here?
Personally,
Mm-hmm.
I do Reiki and tarot cards and some kind of combination thereof. A lot of times if I'm working
Karen, I
on
didn't mention
someone.
that you do tarot.
Yeah, that's my,
Uh-oh.
that was, I did that long before, well, actually, about the same, but I was a school teacher, so I couldn't say I did tarot cards.
Oh, yeah.
But, a combination of those. So if I'm in trance and I'm working on someone, then I can bring in people who have passed or things that are going on or secret things that they don't, everything's very personalized and you never say anything outside that room, but a lot of interesting things happen, and it's very healing because it's a safe place where people can just release. It doesn't have to be just physical. A lot of emotional things go on as well. So it's a nice combination. So those, I've kind of made a little bit of cards at the beginning, and then a little bit of Reiki, and then we go back to the cards. So it's a pretty long session, but it covers a lot.
Interesting. And so what got you interested in Reiki?
Years ago, when my kids were little and they're in their 40s. So years ago, a friend came up to visit, and she said, oh, I learned this new healing thing. You want to give it a try? And I'm like, yeah, what up? Yeah, sure. And she had me on a hard floor, which is not my favorite place to be, and just knocked me out. I've never been so relaxed, and I could feel like electricity going through me. It was crazy. So I'm like, I've got to figure this one out. And so internet and phone calls, and found a great woman who started me off and did the first degree, and that was like, and 1996, and went through all the degrees after that with different teachers. So
You're officially a Reiki master
Reiki
now?
master.
Does that
yes,
come with like
have
a
been for a
special
long
pin
time.
or a
You
belt
know,
or anything?
you know what it is? It's a year internship
Really?
after you do your degree. Yeah, you have to have so many clients. You've got to keep talking to your sponsor. And it's pretty intense.
What does Reiki mean? Is it a Japanese word?
It is, and, you know, it's just universal life energy, and there's a lot of stories behind it. But it's really, you know, when people say, "What is it exactly?" and that's probably how I transitioned a little bit into the hypnosis, because Reiki is a leap of faith. You know, it's not like you can say, "Oh, here's how it works," and it's really, you know, energy once you've been attuned to it. And I think people probably know a lot about attunements, but you take a class and then the teacher attunes you and opens up your crown chakra and gives you the symbols or whatever you need to do the modality that you're learning. And, you know, once that happens, then you can have the energy literally come out of your hands. And so the more attunement you get, the stronger the energy, the easier it is for it to flow. And they always say hands-on, Reiki on. I don't know that that's necessarily my theory at this point, because you could be giving out an awful lot of energy and not everybody wants to accept that energy. So you have to, I like to have an audience or a client who that's what they choose to have. I would never say, "Oh, I'll give them a little Reiki on the side."
Right.
That's just not, yeah. People have said before you can go to their higher self and check in, but I'd rather just go right to the, "Would you like to try the Reiki?" Yes. And so that was the start of it for the healing piece, and I just loved it. And
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Georgia, so and what are you doing here at True North?
I really love hypnosis. That was my training, my want to do for a really long time. And when I went with Karen and we studied, you could see changes so rapidly in just one session. I mean, we had to do everything that we do with everybody else. We have to write the scripts. We have to learn how to plan what's going to be said in those scripts. We have to check with our clients to make sure that the things that are in the scripts are appropriate for them. So that's, I think the changes that can be made so rapidly when the client really wants to make those changes is fascinating and so really rewarding to both of us. Yeah.
So, you know what, my question is, when were you first interested in the metaphysical? Did you know you had certain gifts at a young age, or did they just sort of develop over time, or did your interest develop over time? How did that all manifest for both of you?
So Karen, Karen has been using and working probably her whole life.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
she's
my
one of those
mother
that
was-
that is gifted and had
I don't
that
know
kind of a
that piece,
background.
but my mother was, you know, studied with Laurie Cabot, was very, all kinds of metaphysical things and odd things that probably a child shouldn't hear about, was just mainstay in our house. So, you know, my mother would go, and she had a friend who channeled, and I would go and stay with that woman and help her take care of her dogs, and you'd be sitting there and she would be somebody else.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, as a young kid, I was like, this is pretty interesting. And then her house is haunted, so I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll sleep over, sure. You know, when you grow up with it, you don't think anything about it.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I would say to my mother, a lot of deja vu when I was little, and it would be like, well, that already happened, Mom. She'd be like, no, you know, so it was just an acceptance, and I never gave it any thought. And then I guess as I got a little bit older, you kind of put that down a little bit. And I do remember saying to my mother something about hearing something one time. And she said, don't be telling people that. I said, what? She said, but apparently, and she was pretty secretive about a lot of things. She would hear voices and she would have visions, and she learned to shut it off, because back in that, I mean, you know, my mother was born in 32, so back when she was a young child, that was the devil's work, right?
Right.
So she shut it off. So when I said, I hear, and what do you think if I'm thinking? She's like, no, I'm telling you can talk to me, but don't tell people that. So I think part of it went down, and then that kind of came back up when I realized, hey, I don't have to tell everybody what I do. Just my best friends, and yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How about you,
Yeah,
Georgia?
we spent a lot of time just doing things quietly. I didn't have the background that Karen did. I was always interested in little things as I was young and as I was growing up, and would kind of go and read a little bit or research a little bit, but didn't have any place to study, didn't have any way really to learn until being an adult, and then meeting Karen. And Karen and I just kind of would talk about things, and I'd be like, oh, you know, I've always wondered about that. Or she would say, I saw this program, let's go do this. And that was how we learned to do a lot of the things that we do now, and have a lot of the interests that we have now.
Because I remember it's just in the years I've known you at the shop that over time it went from like crystals to then something else might be there, then maybe there might be a deck of cards there, then 5 decks like so it seemed like that sort of grew with you as well.
Yeah, I think there came a point for both Karen and I, it was a while ago, that we would just say, you know, it doesn't matter what other people think. This is what we do. We do it from our heart. You know, we do a lot of different kinds of energy work, but it comes from here, and we want what's best for whoever we're working with or whoever we're talking to. You know, and I think that that's a really important way to express it as well, you know?
Yeah, well, the reason why I wanted to ask too is I noticed on our channel how this sort of happened over time was people kept saying that this was a safe space for them, because I think a lot of people sort of dealt with what you dealt with growing up, where it was either taboo or not talked about or pushed under the rug or you were crazy. And it's amazing to me how large this community is, how supportive they are. And like, you don't have to do the 101 on astrology, numerology, tarot, or like, they're already there.
Yes.
And but they've mentioned a bunch of times, I've actually met folks here on Cape Ann who have come up to me because of these videos and thank me because they can't tell their husband, their friends, that this is what they're interested in, right? And they were able to and now they're finding people online here and meeting with them offline, connecting that way just to learn about tarot or understand something better, or go to a place that's safe to practice or meet others or whatever it is, which has been really cool too. I never expected anything like that to come from this channel, but that's what we're up against. So when I mentioned that Georgeanne and Karen are coming on, it was just like, we can't wait. There's going to be, they're going to roll out the red carpet for you. So that's why I'm so glad to finally have you here.
Well, and we've been talking about this for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, and it just takes the right time. And I think that's true of anything with what we're learning for everyone. You know, it happens when it's ready to happen. Whether you're small or whether you're older or whether you've been told all along that that's not something that you're supposed to do or whatever. Something will click when it's the right time, and then you are learning and healing.
And
those
trusting
things.
in that is
Yeah,
huge.
the
You know,
trust.
trusting in the timing of things. I think, you know, when I was thinking back to, you know, something that happened in the family recently, and, you know, when you're young, you have goals, and you're just so impatient to just push through, you know, and sometimes the things the barriers that come up, you still push against them. And I think as I've gotten older, I've learned if there's a barrier, there's a reason. So you might poke around in it a little bit, but really if it's a no and it's not working, there's a way of letting that go because it's not the right time, or so I think there's an acceptance that way. And I think part of that comes with maturity and, you know, not having that same drive maybe as younger, if that makes any sense. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're young, you really want to move mountains and hell bent to get exactly what you want, and just get a little bit older and more, maybe more trusting in spirit in the universe to take care of you and put the right things in the right place at the right time. And there's more of that. And I think when it's just synchronicity, when you allow that, there's so much more that comes back to you than if you're fighting against something that probably isn't going to serve you in the long run.
I see.
So, you know, we're pretty much, we're really close as friends as well. So we, you know, we can bounce things off of each other and just feel our way through like, hey, what if we tried this? Well, we've got nothing loose for trying. And
Or even, this is what happened.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
What should I do about that? What should you do about it? How do you feel about that? So yeah, we really work very closely for what goes on here and also in our personal lives. I think everybody needs to have that kind of support.
Right. Well, that's why, and folks, share if you could share some stories with us too. Let's see. Sharp Lisa, my parents found it entertaining and would often ask me what I felt about people when I was young, which is interesting. Sandra Spidel, we are part of a renaissance in this time period. Imagine that. And we wanted to be a part of this prior to incarnating this time. It's exciting, but I have to be careful with who I speak with too. Interesting. So I'm wondering if folks, if you've had similar experiences growing up where you couldn't be as open about this, because I also noticed too, when we have these interviews and people meet folks like you, there's a lot of people that we call them and they call themselves lurkers, right? So they're just watching the shows. They don't really comment or participate in the live chat. But at the end, you might get an email or a comment or something after just thanking you for being able, just allowing them to hear someone else's story. And everybody's relating in their own way to this stuff too. So that's been a really cool thing that I've noticed with this as well. Oh, Maria, this is what I like about this and other channels. I'm with like-minded folks. It feels safe. I haven't shared my intuitive gifts with others. I don't want them to think I'm crazy because they're skeptical.
Right. And that's why having a community, we have a monthly group of practicing mediums that get together, and it's really just this, it's a safe environment, and people come in, they're like, oh, it's just like having a family. Everything is safe here between, keeping the space safe, bringing in blessings and keeping the space safe, and just being careful with each other and listening to stories and not repeat, like anything that happens here stays here, and sometimes we even laugh about some of the things that happen here. But it's, the community's huge. It's very important. And, during COVID, when we weren't doing the space, then we were like, oh, what are we going to do? And Zoom came along, and we had people calling in from all over the country, and it was pretty interesting. And I thought, how's this going to work? How are we going to be able to do readings or healings? And it works just fine. But it's, again, it's a new modality, so it's like, oh, I wonder how. And that's been a huge.
That's a great
that's
point.
a huge.
And I didn't know that this had blossomed on YouTube, especially during COVID as well.
Right.
It's a massive community out there too.
So
go ahead.
So right now, while we're doing this, we have a class going on, and there's participants from New England, there's participants from Minnesota, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, and
California.
And California is where the channel practitioner is. She's giving the class for us tonight.
Oh, really?
For our community, and the community is all over the country at this point.
So do you offer a lot of online classes?
A good month, at least 1 or 2 every month of online.
And can people find that through the website?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so there's just a calendar of events, or?
Yep, there's a calendar of events. We also have a newsletter that goes out if people sign up, and I think we have some freebie things that they get if they sign up for the newsletter, and there's a little bit more like, hey, this is what's going on this month, and so people can kind of plan. We have a great sound healing coming up this coming Sunday.
Yes.
Yep. Kind of a spring renewal, which with Joe Hayes, it's fabulous. This room has got great acoustics. So his voice and we put the lights down low, and it's just blasts you right off. It's fabulous.
And unfortunately, we can't do that virtual. You have to.
We've tried. It's a little, he did some, but it's.
The sound.
It's the sound. You really have to have the vibration. And we have done it. We did them outside during COVID. We did a few outside. It was okay, except it's a busy road. And then we were down on the marsh, and that worked out pretty well until the mosquitoes came out. But so it's nice to just have the space.
That's funny. What did I see here from Christian? It's funny. My parents were very aware and open to my gifts of insight, and they've heard me say things or focus in on things that later came true. Was never an issue. Well, that's nice.
That's
That is
really
nice.
great, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
I don't think, Maria, I don't think my mother knew because I did not say anything as a child. I kept it to myself. Um, Here's a question from Good Karma. Will hypnotherapy work long distance?
sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why not?
absolutely.
I mean, you have to hear it. I've done people on Zoom for hypnosis. Absolutely, because, and you also get a recording, which, people will say, well, if you do this weight loss with me, I'm going to lose like 10 pounds in a week and then I'm going to be good. I'm like, well, you got to listen to it a few more times. It's not like a placebo or whatever, that you take the pill and you're going to lose the weight. You have to listen. It's a tool. So if you're open to it and you have a recording, then you can listen to it anytime. So it reinforces. And we've had clients who've done phenomenally well with it. And yeah, so it can be long distance. It's recorded. It can be just on the phone. You don't even have to have anybody looking at it. We prefer that because then we look for certain tells that,
can see
okay,
when
they're in hypnosis now. We're ready to do it sounds very much, for people who do meditation, it sounds like that, except there's a therapy piece to it, that once you're in, really in trance, and we can see by your breathing and your face and your coloring that you're at that point, then we can really do some good work.
Here's a question. Can you recognize folks in everyday life as you pass by that may have gifts? Is there like a connection somehow, or you can like see it in somebody, or if you're starting to get to know someone, think,
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it depends on, a lot of people still hide it. I think once you have the community, then you get a better sense of where people's strengths are. But I wouldn't say walking down the street, I'm like shields up. I shields up, because you can't just be picking up everybody's stuff everywhere you walk. And, it's an awful lot. Do you know what I mean by shields up? You just really have to protect your energy. So however that works, but mine is like, I have my little shield.
How do you go about doing that?
I just call it in. It's intention. Really, if you believe something, it's an intention. If you're saying, I'm protected now, you can do a little prayer. People have all kinds of ways that they protect and ground and keep themselves safe. So, like if I'm in a big crowd, I'm shields up, because, there's just, you don't want to be taking in other people's things.
I bet
I know
there's,
it sounds weird, but it's
But
very
it-
much
yeah, it
can
does
happen.
happen.
I mean, if you think about it, if you hang around with somebody who's very depressed or very sick, not that you become that, but it lowers your energy. It does things that can be very difficult.
Life
So
suck.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. And some people can do more life sucking than others. So, you just, yeah.
Yeah.
And some unintentionally, really.
What are your thoughts on skeptics, and how do you deal with skeptics, if you have to deal with them at all?
I guess sometimes it depends on what they're being skeptical about. I think you have to approach things in different ways according to what their comments are about what are they skeptical about? Sometimes it's a lack of trust, or maybe not even having the knowledge of what they're talking about. I mean, until we can actually see or do, a lot of times we don't believe. I think we lean more towards believing, and then you see it. So,
Georgeanne, you're gonna be proud of me. You too, Karen. Guess what I've done in the last couple of weeks?
oh, tap.
I've had my Akashic records read.
Yes,
And I had my soul introduction with this woman, Deborah Lupian. She's out in the Poconos, I think, which was great too. She's awesome. So she's been on the show a couple of times, which is cool too. And I read tarot for the first time with Celtic Tarot Sheila. Political tarot, which I don't know anything about. And I told her, she said, that's okay. It's cold. I want you to be cold on a subject. And then,
And she taught you how to do it.
yeah. And I was doing 4 cards on top, 4 on the bottom
Nice.
to start with.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went through that. It
It's
all happened
pretty
last week or
open.
so.
I was kind of poking around as what's going on with Corey when I was home.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just, little. And I said, oh, I'm going to pull a card for Corey. So it was the crown chakra.
Wait, and I explained this. Hold
I
on.
was looking through the cards.
I didn't feel anything.
That's okay. I was poking around in a not too invasive way, just like, what's going on with Corey right now? And you
So
got
wait,
the
do
crown
you
chakra.
need permission from me to
Not
do
for
that?
that. I was poking around. Like if you wanted to, I wouldn't be getting. I was just like, what's he doing? What's going on with him?
Yeah.
Like what's this all about that you're interested in this? basically, because you do so many other different shows. And it was like crown chakra, which is, connecting to spirit. So that's open and you're ready to learn more things.
And that's what you're doing.
And that's
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, well, there's so many modalities and facets, and
Yes.
it just blows my mind how I was aware, of bits and pieces along the way, but I didn't know of how many stuff. I never heard the term Akashic Records until last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's amazing.
that's pretty heady stuff to try to
Yes,
wrap
yes,
your mind
yes.
around,
Yes.
That was really cool. But yeah, all these different things that have been going on, and numerology and
That's your thing.
color and so whatever. So it's all, I'm open. I dig it. I mean, I just think it's interesting, and you also find that folks who practice or interested seem to have they're at a peaceful place in life. I also find though too that a lot of them seem to have trauma, and I want to know how much like past trauma something plays a role in someone being more attuned to spirit or the universality of things. Or does that make sense?
It does. I think, I think when you have crisis in your life and you're looking for answers, I know that's how I started doing tarot. There was a lot of crisis in my life, and that just presented itself. Like I got this brochure, come to Northern Essex Community College and learn tarot from Vivian Soodhalter. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to that. And that just set me off on a whole way of, it really helps you to focus and kind of let things go and see what, there's a lot of learning to it as well. So now if someone said, how did you learn all those cards? Well, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You have to memorize, but then once you get them, you use them. It's a tool for helping you to get answers for things that are in your subconscious or out there in the collective consciousness, and you can bring it in. So, but I do think crisis sparks a lot of things for people.
Well, and I think everybody has had trauma.
True.
I think all of us, it's a matter of either remembering or wanting to work and heal that area. I think every one of us have had things that maybe we don't want to talk about or have experienced or saw or whatever. And like Karen said, that's finding something that will help you to get through that and help you to heal is all the better for everybody.
Right.
And I think what you said about people that do this kind of work are a lot, what did you say, a lot more?
They seem to have a peacefulness to them. They seem to be much more at peace with themselves or just the world around them.
I think that not that we have any less crazy stuff going on.
Right.
There's always crazy, and in fact, right now there's so much more things going on and moving at such a faster pace. But we learn what we're going to get worked up about, and we have the tools to help us to
Calm it
not
down.
get so bogged down about whatever that is.
Yeah, it's interesting, Georgeanne. It's so what interests me about this is, as someone who grew up funny, right? So
You're
you're
pretty
told
funny.
you're funny, like,
You're pretty
but
funny.
you don't like no one really tells you what to ever do with it. You're the wise ass. Like
Yeah.
no teacher ever encourages you.
Oh, yes,
to
I
keep
used
me-
to. I used to
right.
love the funnier the kid was, the better. I
Well,
liked
yeah,
it.
some
That's funny.
you could be certain pets for certain
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there
yeah.
was that too. But it was always like I never knew where it was coming from, right? Like how did I have
That quick wit.
a joke or punch like that fast, like before you finish your sentence? How did I know where you were going? How did I? And so I would sort of think in like presuppose scenarios in my head, have conversations in case a topic or something came up. I kind of had, a cache of go-to phrases or keywords to riff off of, right? It was kind of the same thing when I picked up a tarot card. It's like, oh, this is helping me tell the story. I don't know where I'm channeling this from,
Yep.
but it's being fed one way or another, and here's like another cool way for me to express it. It's almost like when I was starting to figure out how to manage my time better and schedule, and you would look at self-help books or how to prioritize lists and things like that, but then to also get to know more about who you are and what you do and how you deal with things those ways, that opens up another window to, oh, okay, she's doing this. I'm kind of doing something like that, you know, but you don't know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Yes,
feeling
yeah.
my way to see how
Yes.
these things are working for me.
As we call it, tools in the toolbox.
Yeah.
You know, the more tools you have, the fuller the box, and then you have something to pull out to work with.
Right.
So
Mm.
we do a lot of work with teaching people different tools, which is fun.
Oh, Michelle, I don't have my bell with me. We need to chime her. So usually she's just tipped the channel. So I always.
We do have a bell.
We do?
Yeah,
We do. Well, we have a gong.
Yeah, well, we have.
Oh, we have a gong?
We have
kind
the
of
bowl over
a
there.
bowl.
Yeah, see
The
right
bowl
there
with
on
a
the,
little mallet,
see the mallet right there?
Oh, this is
the
awesome.
pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's got
anytime, so
the-
you show me how to do that, or you can do that.
So all you have to do is this.
Oh, there you go.
And it lasts forever.
Thanks,
too.
Michelle.
See, but that's.
Oh, and actually, someone else got in before Michelle, too. I gotta find.
That is gonna keep
Oh,
going.
Michelle, twice I think you did. Well, anyway, Michelle, thank you so much for that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm sure I missed some cool comments out here. Reaching out to different psychics. Oh, here's a question for you. Can trauma be healed by hypnosis without having to revisit or resurface trauma?
So-
I think you have to, you know, you have to really decide you want to dig down and dirty, you know.
But when you use hypnosis, we can program it away so that you're going through it, but you're not
Physically feeling it or
feeling it.
panicked by it.
Yes.
It's kind of like you see it, we learned to, almost like you see it on a screen and it's someone else.
And
So
I
you
don't mean to
can
cut you
project it.
off.
No.
Yeah.
If I just turn this way, I'm just trying to
Oh.
feed
No,
through
no,
the
no,
chat.
we know, we
yeah,
know.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so you
that's
can
fine.
just go right to
Okay.
the screen
Yeah,
and
that's
to
fine.
I
continue
can't
an
see the
answer or
screen, so
something.
it's fine.
Okay, so thank you, Synchronicity, for that. I'm just scrolling up to see if I missed anything. So anyway, if you're just tuning in, hi, I'm Corey from The Bridge. I am joined by Georgeanne Richards and Karen Ferris of True North Hypnosis. Annalie has a website link for you, truenorthhypnosis.com. They do a lot of work here at their Wellness Center in Essex, Massachusetts, but they also offer online classes in a variety of subjects and topics, so you can check that out as well to see if you're interested. So anyway, this is their first show with us here, although I've known them for a long, long time. So it's cool. So we're still learning a lot about each other, which is really great. If you have questions for them, feel free. Nothing is off limits here. And I think the idea is to come back and do another show, right?
Yeah.
If they would
People
like
want
us
it,
to.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
if
gonna
it's
want you
something
back.
specific they want to know about, we'll.
So I'm just scrolling through. So I'm trying to think of what would you like to see when you worked on this wellness center here? Was the idea for this to be a safe place? Did you want to have a bunch of different disciplines and practices being employed here? Was that sort of the
Yes.
concept?
Yes.
Started out just the two of us, and then we had, should we tell the Elizabeth Foley story?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. We were doing, you know, the hypnosis and the tarot cards and the Reiki, and one day we said, we need an angel person. Do you know any angel people? And I said, well, what do you think? And Georgia goes, Elizabeth Foley, who is an angelologist who's known around the world. I said, well, let's just give her a call, thinking she's going to be like, no. And she's like, yeah, I'll be down. When do you want us to?
Yeah.
When do you want me to come? And we were like, holy moly! Like, how did that? That's what I'm talking about, synchronicity, and just we put it out to the universe, and
Right.
she's like, sure. And to this day, she works off our website. She comes and does classes here. We send people up to. She just opened a healing center in New Hampshire. And we send people up there, so you know, people just present, and it works.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I guess we kind of feel like we're a way for people to learn and experience and work on their healing.
Let me ask about this area specifically in Cape Ann, now that you've been here for so long. We hear people talk about, there's like photographers and artists talk about the light here. It just seems a little bit different. Do you find that there's
No, it's the energy.
the energy is different here, and how so?
It's incredible amount of energy. Gloucester, Essex, Manchester, Ipswich, because it's old energy, and there's so many things that have happened in this area, you know, with with the way the settlers came in, with the slaves coming through here and underground, and all those things, all that energy is held here. I mean, they're in the houses, the buildings.
Yeah.
We've
The
gone
antique
in.
shops?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
Held in the antique shops.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Essex is basically known as the antique capital of the world. Has been for a
Yes.
long time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fascinating.
More like restaurants right now, but that's
Right.
that's all right.
And the area we're in, yeah. So obviously, we can talk about settlers and that era. We know Gloucester, Massachusetts is celebrating its 400th year
Yeah.
as an established town entity. They're founded in 1623. Though obviously there were folks here before that too. Most of the names around here are related to Indian names. Like this was Chabaco
Yeah.
before it was
Yes.
Essex. There are lots of relics and artifacts still you can find anywhere
Mm-hmm.
around Cape Ann still too. So were you are you both from this area or were you drawn to this area? How did you
I grew up
land
in
it?
Beverly, which is right over there, and
Yeah.
I live in Ipswich and taught in Ipswich for like 30 years. So,
Yeah.
it's just if I go to Salem, that's a whole other different energy.
Oh geez, I bet.
That's some crazy energy over there. It's
Huh.
wild. I mean, there's just so much. I think between the witch trials and all the history there, that's a whole other vibration of energy. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
So okay, you grow up in a household where,
It's all fair game,
right? It's
Yep.
all fair game.
but don't hear voices.
You're here in Cape Ann. You're near Salem.
No,
you
I
know.
do.
So yeah, you've always been sort of enveloped in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, have there been other places that you've through your travels where it's like, whoa, this is pretty heavy too, or this is really cooler. and
What I would experience?
yeah.
That's a good question. Certainly there's places, like when I was in Santa Fe, there's some very sacred places that you can really feel that energy. But I wouldn't say as I'm going about and traveling or whatever that I necessarily would, if I'm on vacation on the beach, I wouldn't be necessarily picking up. It would be more just kind of doing my own meditation. It's not like I'm really scanning the energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's more like I'm taking care of my energy and doing my channeling and my work. So that is maybe not what you were looking for, but I'm not quite
No.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I don't
well,
think
because
I
I
would
hear
walk
places
and go,
like Mount Shasta or Sedona or those sort of like
Yes.
hotbeds. And why are they hotbeds?
Yeah, because
know?
they're energy vortexes, and the energy is unbelievable. And that you can feel. There's a vibration there. It's like when you get in, like when we do a lot of work with people in a big group, the energy, like we've worked a lot with John Holland and locally where he practices, and when you get people together that all have that same higher vibration, it's pretty intense, in a good way. And that's where you probably would let my shield down, so I could experience that. But it's pretty fascinating. I would need to, like, sometimes, when I was younger, I always had a stomach ache. Because I didn't have my shield up. I didn't, I would take things in, and I definitely take in through my solar plexus. So I always felt sick. And I didn't understand why I felt sick. There was no reason for it, but I think I was just bombarded. I was very sensitive. I picked up on, and even now, if people are upset, like, I really have to be very careful because I can pull that all in. And that doesn't help anybody if I'm absorbing it. You want to try to help people cope with that and balance out their energy. So, it's an interesting balance there. But if once I learned to take better care of my energy system, I didn't get that anymore. Did it shut the coming in down? No, I don't think it did, but it made it, I understood it better as I got older. As a kid, I just thought everybody got that. And then but the picking up of anything that was upsetting, that's hard.
I see.
That's a hard thing.
How about, did you notice, Georgeanne, like with you in your travels, were there certain places, or it could even be where you walk into a home, you walk past a graveyard, you walk into this antique shop, it's like, whoa.
Honestly, 2 weeks ago, I was in Gloucester for a wake. And before I even got in the door, it was, oh my gosh. The energy was so strong and so was really heavy. Understandable to some extent, but the family that was there and the person that it was his funeral, he was a great guy and so full of energy and so full of fun, and a character like yourself, you know, would just kind of pull the punches and all. But the building itself, I could not, I wanted to just go do my thing in there and get out of there because it was so heavy. And so, I mean, even the way it smelled was different. And,
Yeah,
and it's not the flowers, you know, people say funeral homes,
No.
don't use those flowers because that's funeral home flowers. It's not the flowers.
Right.
No, it's the,
Yeah, that bugs me too. It's like someone lives a very fulfilling life, and unless, to me, if let's say a full life, you know, and then it's no real surprise. I just think people have a hard time with mortality and the endings of things, and they don't really, they can't rationalize it, or they don't want to think about it, and then when something happens, even if it's expected, it still hits them like a ton of bricks, and they don't know how to cope. But you still the one thing I've liked that's happened in the last couple of decades is the celebration of life, and not just the morbid. I mean, I'm a Roman Catholic. The morbid wake funeral, like really, my grandfather was like, well, the happiest guy, like 96 years old. Right. It was great. Everything was taken care of before this was going to go on. And why is this so morbid, for lack of a better term? Like, why does it doesn't have to be this way?
no, it does not. And when we think about that, you've heard they're just on the other side of the veil. You know, they're still here. And a lot of times you can feel them, or you get messages from them if you're available to be aware and to listen to those messages, you know. And so it's not that they really have gone anywhere. They're not visual, as we know, or huggable, but they are still with us. Yeah. You know, so it is a celebration of life because their life continues, but in a different way.
I always think in my mind if someone that I know has passed and they suddenly pop up in my head, it's because they want me to just, hey, we're here.
We're saying hello to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Always just, I don't know why. Here's a question from Sandra Spinal. Georgeanne and Karen, have you ever attended Caroline Mice's
Yes.
classes? I watch her always.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
she's
did
awesome.
go. Yeah, we did go to.
I've never heard of her. What?
Oh, she's written a bazillion books, but we saw her at
Can do.
at the Hay House Can Do in Tampa, and she's really very interesting.
In fact, when we came out of that class, we were leaving for the airport. We went to the airport. We were so spaced out, we barely got onto the airplane. We're sitting in there chatting.
Electric lights everywhere we went to. We were like so black. It was like a whole weekend of things, and the lights were going, and they kept wherever we had to keep changing planes, and we were the last people on. We didn't hear anything.
Calling for us.
They're like,
oh, what are they calling us?
Is that us? We would just. You can't be ungrounded
That
like
wasn't
that
the
all the
martinis?
time.
Are you sure?
No martinis.
It was, but she's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, and her books are.
Yes.
She's a wonderful public speaker. So anytime anyone can watch anything with her, highly recommend it.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Thanks for the question, Sandra. Marlene asked about this area. Is it the same energy as Sedona?
I've never been to Sedona.
No, it's
on my
not the
bucket
same
list.
energy as Sedona. No. Sedona is. It's more right to your being, or at least it was for me. You can feel the energy right to your being. You're outside most of the time, or at least that's where I was.
The Red Rock, right?
The red rocks are everywhere, and the canyons, and the hiking paths, and just the soil, the red dirt is there. And there's such energy that just, when we talked about high vibrations, that's a really high vibration place. You know, not so much downtown. I think downtown capitalizes.
I've been to Sedona.
On that. That's it's
timeshare.
not,
You want a timeshare? You want a timeshare? You want a timeshare? Oh my God.
No, or even just what they say about the crystals and the readings and that, and it just seems too forced and too commercial.
They've made business out
Yeah,
of
there's
it.
some opportunities,
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yes.
Like, why
But
not?
there's
Yes.
some really good classes out there that we're gonna sign up for pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's a lot up in the, I can't remember the gentleman's name.
Maybe we should figure a retreat. Maybe some people would like
Like
to
to
go on a retreat with
There's
us.
folks that go on
Yeah.
retreats all the time.
Yeah, okay.
Let me see. Jessica Frank, Georgianne and Karen, you two have really awesome energy. Thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you
Oh,
for listening
thank
to us
you.
today.
Thank you.
Let's see. Eileen, we had a big party after both of my parents' funerals. We actually sang Lord of the Dance.
Nice.
Nice.
As we took Naomi out of the church and sang it loud and happy. That's cool.
Yeah, I love
Good
it.
send off.
Mhm.
Good karma. It's up to us to change the tone of funerals by planning fun things we need to celebrate. Very nice stuff, folks. So obviously I'm a distance from the desktop. And I don't have my glasses, so I'm
I
scrolling
can't
for
see.
questions in the meantime. But yeah, throw them our way if you have. Oh, I thought I saw Maureen from. She's a local. Did I see Maureen? I don't know. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, Maureen Cusimano. Can you explain what they do with hypnosis at business? Does that make sense?
A business. No,
Business.
I'm not.
Well, I
Here.
guess we need a little bit
So what? I guess how do you practice hypnosis here? Let's go with that.
here.
Yeah, when people come here.
Okay, because we've gone to
Oh.
businesses and
Oh, you do that for
Oh,
business as
we
well?
have
Oh, we can
gone
talk
to-
about that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure what she's looking for, but here it's we've done groups. I mean, big groups of people, all on the same topic. Like if we were going to do a past life regression, everybody's doing the same thing. You can't have people doing different things. Or we have small groups. We've had like 2 or 3 people, or
And
individuals.
individuals.
Yeah, live or
Sometimes people
face-
just want that time to themselves. You know, that's they have something special they need to work on. Maybe there's a fear or,
Mhm.
you know, they're concerned about their health and how
Hmm.
they live their life. So yeah, we'll work one-on-one.
Usually we have, because, it's got to be very individualized for the person looking for the therapy. So we ask them to fill out a questionnaire and then we have a phone conversation. It's not like, oh yeah, we'll do that with it. We really talk to the person, we investigate what needs to be done to help them, and then we write the scripts, and it's a lot of work. And it has to be, because you want to be very careful. When you have somebody in that level of you slow the brain down and you get into that subconscious, you really want to be very careful with your wording, so that you're not harming them in any way. And we've seen some pretty crazy things
Yeah.
other places that it's like, oh my gosh, thank God we had a wonderful teacher, and and we've been with her when these things have happened. She's like, did you see that? Like crazy stuff that,
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't super harmful to the person, but it wasn't a
It
good
didn't seem
thing.
appropriate.
Yeah, which is why when she said, let's just do hypnosis now, all I could think of is up on stage, like, oh, make you quack. Like, I'm like, I'm not doing that, because it's, it's embarrassing and, but it's nothing like that when it's
And that's not what
therapeutic.
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Let's talk about something else now that
Okay.
happens here, all right?
yeah.
Okay.
So I brought up the table tipping
Oh, yeah.
the other night. Now I did
Couple
get a
weeks.
comment or two from folks who thought that was like a big no-no, and it was
No-no
like
for what?
It was a bad energy invite or something. Is that true? Or first, I guess explain what that is, because especially to someone like me who could use an explanation, and then how you employed that here.
Well, Georgeanne has that little 3-legged table over
That's the
there.
table
That's
right
the
there.
antique table. I don't even, you got that at one of the antique shops here.
Yeah.
You call in spirit. It's kind of, when I was growing up, we did Ouija boards. Now I have still a little fear of Ouija boards, because
So
we
we get a
called
lot
in
of
some
comments on
crazy,
Ouija boards too.
yeah, as kids, we called in some crazy, not good things. And so I had a good fear of that. And I think my father probably threw the Ouija board away, which to now I'd be like, oh, I wish I had that Ouija board. But so it's not quite like that, but you are calling in spirit. As in any time you work with spirit, you really set protection in your room. You call in the angels to protect the room, to all the participants. You call in your guides. You call in your teams to be in the room, protect the participants. And only you need, like you have people that help you moderate. Well, we have that with the angels who come in, and they do not allow negative energy in. We do a lot of prayer before and make sure everybody's in that higher vibration that's working. So there's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of singing when we do it. It's because spirit likes it when our energy, you know, when we talk about mediumship, you know, our energies are here and their energies there. So we have to go in the middle. They have to come down, we have to go up. And in order to do that, you have to raise your vibration.
So what are you trying to do? Connect with a specific?
Well, whoever wants to come in, and usually there's a lot of, you know, like the last time I was not here, but usually it's just one table and there's like maybe 6 or 7 of us around the table, and we start in, and you know, and you can, you can't make this stuff up. You put your fingers lightly on it. You are barely touching the table,
Like this.
barely touching it. Everyone's around it. Your feet are flat on the floor. No one's moving anything. And once the energy starts moving, I can feel it vibrating through my body. Like it starts, and I can feel it. And then the table just starts going. Like it tips and doesn't fall over. One night we were chasing the table up and down this room, whoever and you can ask questions. So is this so and so, or you might have a feeling, depending on who you're working with. Like sometimes you're like, oh, that energy feels familiar, and it'll be someone be like, oh, I think that's my uncle. And then you start asking questions. Is this so and so? You can have them tip up for yes. Like you can ask them to do different things, and it's wild.
So it's the energy that
It's the
becomes
energy.
physical.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a mediumship reading, we're verbalizing, we're channeling and verbalizing, but this is the energy actually comes through and physically moves the table.
Like kind of the old seance ones,
And-
right? Where the table would move and things would happen. It's calling
Yeah.
in the
And-
energy so that I guess part of it's just, you know, people don't believe it. And if you actually see that, you know, even when we were doing it, we're like,
The very
somebody
first
moving that,
time-
like, we're like,
The very first
like we're
time
looking
I
under
had
the
to
table
look
to see
under
if
the table.
someone's
Okay,
moving it.
what's this? Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
So have you practiced that for a while? Like when was the first
Yes.
time you did that?
Oh my gosh.
When this building was being built,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Oh
the
yeah.
very
we went
first time we
upstairs.
did it
And
upstairs.
so why? Was it just
Because
something you know?
we wanted to try it. We
Yeah.
wanted to see if,
We could make it go.
yeah, we heard about it, and energy is energy. Everything's energy. So we wanted to see if we could actually make that happen, and it was pretty exciting.
Huh.
Yeah, and we will get very often the same couple of people come, like the gentleman who had the shop out there.
Oh.
And we have a little
Comes and
girl who
visits.
comes, what do we figure? She was from the late 1700s.
Yeah.
She comes just about every single time.
Wow.
And people who have come in for the mediumship classes see her. People who are visual
Okay.
see her.
So let's talk.
I
So
don't
that
see-
little girl, is this because we've heard this about ghosts too? Where is there a barrier or a troubled soul where you're no? Is this a
think
misconception
there
where you're
can
trying to
be.
like just go away or?
Like
you
to
hear this
happen.
about how people deal with ghosts, like you
That
want
can.
them out, and
Right, right.
That's more paranormal kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we're inviting them in.
yeah,
So, but you
good,
can
bad,
be-
and ugly.
No,
No.
no bad and
bad.
ugly.
Okay.
And
No.
it's generally is related to someone that is here.
Unless it's the
Yeah.
RW or the little girl, they just show up, and people that have never been here who are sensitive will say, "Who's that gentleman?" Like, and we're like, "Oh, he's here again." Or the little girl, is there a little girl
little
with like a?
girl's here.
She has some toys she pulls along with her. So people who are visual see them. I personally don't see. I just get the impression.
Wow.
Georgeanne sees.
Yeah, you do.
I've not seen the little girl. I know that she's here, but I've not seen her. But when I do get messages, I do see. Yeah.
Wow. There's that.
Kind of
folks.
fun.
Let's see. I felt that energy surging around the circle when I was praying with a group of women. We were holding hands. It felt electrical.
Yeah, it is.
Christian, I'm fascinated by your visitors. Have you ever had to ask a visitor to leave?
Oh.
No, I don't think so
No.
because the
What do you mean visitor? Do you
Like-
mean spirit visitor?
I'm
or
thinking
do you
during a table
mean-
tipping, right? Spirit visitor.
Oh.
That's my guess. What he was.
like an uninvited spirit.
No,
Well, we have the
because
bouncers.
We,
We have the bouncers,
we have
so
the,
they're
the
not
angels
getting
don't
in.
let them in.
Yeah.
No.
Angels don't let them in.
I mean, you've got to really make sacred space. You just don't like. That's why I think as with kids with the Ouija board, we were calling in whatever, and we got some whatever that was not good that was following us around for quite a while because we didn't know to set that. We didn't know about sacred. We were just fooling. So I don't think it's you know, what I would never say, oh, just, but we said we were going to try the table tipping. We weren't doing it willy-nilly. We were, you know, we had been taught to do the prayers and bring in, I don't remember who did it with us, one of the mediums, maybe Katie did it with us. So that's always, you know, if you don't protect yourself, then you get what you get, and then you get the bad and the ugly.
And when we do table tipping, you will get all kinds of personalities because whoever's coming brings their personality with them. You know, the last time we did table tipping, we had a young man who lost his life young, too soon, and he loved people. So we had 6 different tables. There were 3 people at each table, and he visited the different tables, which, you know, he was pretty
He's having a
fun,
good time.
and yeah, and that's what makes it fun and interesting. And he had messages for, it was his wife that was here, and he visited her first, and he was a party guy. So he went to the table next and moved over there. And
How does a session end? When does the
And we're too tired to keep moving.
Yes.
So it's up to you essentially? Yes.
Yeah. We're usually at, you know, you're bent over the table, so after a while of being in that position, you're like, oh my goodness. You know, and if we have a lot of people, sometimes some people will stay, and then Georgianne and I will go behind, put our hands on the person who's.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So would it be like if one person backed off, it doesn't like break the chain, right?
No,
We're all
no, because it just keeps going. But
No.
you know, people get physically tired because you're moving and you are actually channeling a lot of energy. So it's a little, you're hyped up, but you're also drained. Like when I go home after that, I'm like, all
Yeah.
right,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
done. Yeah.
And so you said about breaking the chain. Sometimes when your fingers are on the table can tip really far. Sometimes it tips
In your
fast.
lap.
If they get excited, if spirit gets excited and they have a good yes, they really want you to know, it will happen really fast. You lose, your fingers aren't on the table anymore.
Yeah.
There might be 2 people with their fingers on the table. Everybody else has lost their finger hold because the table
going
has
too
moved so
fast.
fast. And
You'll-
you can
you'll find
actually
them.
talk to spirit when they're doing it. It's pretty fun. We had one time where we brought in a military person, and the military person made the table march. And we thought that was pretty interesting. We were asking questions to this military person, and when he really wanted to say yes, he would take the table and just hang it like this. And so it kept hanging. We're like, okay, well, we can't ask any more questions because it's hanging. So we had to say, would you mind putting the table down so we can ask you another question? Right away.
Yeah. Because they want to communicate, you know, they want to communicate,
Yeah.
and we want to communicate. So it's, you know, it's, if nothing else, it just lets you know that there is a life after this life. There is, the energy continues, and you want, like, okay, you're in the ground, you're dust, you're gone. You know, there's a continuance there, and I think that's very, it just, you know, it makes you feel good, you know,
It's
like
comforting.
it's comforting,
It's
and
comforting.
it's, you know, so
A little
it's a
reassuring.
nice, very
Yeah.
much so, because you know, if you hate, you know, you think of your demise, and it's like, okay, that's it. Well, you want to be hanging around and seeing what's going on with your kids and your grandkids, and you know,
Yeah.
sometimes we get animals that come in,
Yeah.
Sure.
which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was, one of them was that parrot. It was a parrot for one of them. We were like, it's pretty fun.
Huh.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Might have to show one of those sometime. Yeah. Let's see. I was never worried when I worked in the graveyard. Nothing bad ever happened to the crypt keeper. Well, there's that.
Yeah, there we go.
Very cool. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, folks, hi, I'm Corey. She is Georgeanne. She is Karen. We are at True North Hypnosis in Essex, Massachusetts. Annalie has the link for if you want to learn more about their wellness center here, and they also have offered tons of online classes too. If you ever want to participate in that, you can with just a couple of clicks of the mouse or a tap of your finger. So there is that. How about this question from Good Karma? Ladies, what is your favorite mode of communication? Pendulum, tarot? Do you have a favorite?
Oh boy. You know, it depends on what I'm doing. Like a friend lost her passport and called me over the weekend in a panic. So the pendulum worked good for that. Did I find the No, but I found the old one.
Oh yeah.
She goes, oh, she went over, she goes, that's my old one. I'm like, what? okay.
Yeah, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, and then I said, that's when I said, you're not supposed to go on this trip. Be done with
Wow,
it.
I-
So that was a good thing. I guess, I love my tarot cards. And so that would be, because that combined up with the Reiki, as long as I can go up and out, I can, the cards really speak to me, and I don't even like need the cards. Like these are different cards, but I just read plain old tarot cards of the same deck for
Forever?
40
She's
years.
really good.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Did you bring your
it's-
deck with you? No.
I did. It's just a weight rider.
Hey, that's what I use.
It's, because really, and I have other decks, I don't read with them. I like to look at them and they're pretty, but like these cards mean something to me. And I think once you learn tarot, what card I might pull would mean something totally different to you. Like you get your own set of tools. So if I'm working on someone and I don't have my cards, I see the card. Like, and I'll look, oh, okay. And then we'll talk it. The biggest thing is me remembering at the end because I don't like to stop and write or record anything, but I love my tarot cards.
How about you, Jim?
We have been working on channeling the last 3 years, and I really do, I'm leaning more towards that. I think I really like to be able to just call in, ask the question, or have a conversation because it's quick, and it always seems to be the best thing. Yeah.
Very cool. Interesting stuff.
Yep.
Let's see. Jessica Frank, she's talking to Chef Lisa. Worth repeating here. I recommend to friends who don't have a private space at home and aren't comfortable walking in parks to go to the cemeteries. Works every time. So I guess someone's looking for a
Used
safe
to play
space.
there when I was a kid.
It's a quiet
That's where we went.
place.
My favorite place to be, peaceful and relaxing.
Yeah, it's very quiet.
Very cool. Okay, so let's talk about True North. So, what do you want people to know about True North and what goes on here?
I think Georgeanne had said it earlier. It's really heart-based healing. The practitioners who work here, we are all of like mind when it comes to energy and being in a higher vibration and working for the well-being of the person we're with. So, and it's a heart connection. I know that sounds a little strange, but it's that kind of, we want the very best for whoever comes in here, and we want this to be a safe space, whether you're getting a massage or whether you're having biocranial sacral with Amy or whether you're doing IET with Melissa. We all have that same way of operating, for the highest good of the person, and that's really important, I think. And we're also very careful about who comes in here to practice. There's a lot of interviewing, there's a lot of things that go back and forth, and we're very careful, and we're very small, so we can pay attention to what's going on. When we all communicate, what's going on, what do you need, do you have a client? If not, can I have the space? So it's a community. We share that. Other than the massage room, we kind of take turns, and it all works out, which sounds very interesting with so many people practicing, but it just works out. Yeah.
Do you want to work off of that, Georgeanne?
No, I think that's great. I think she covered everything.
Very nice. So I want to ask about when you're doing tarot, is it always very personal readings? Is that what you practice all the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like someone would come with a question, and we quiet, and we go through, and I allow people to shuffle my card. I have no problem with them because they're going to clear afterwards. I have cloth and do a thing, so they're clear. Let them put their energy into the cards so that I'm not, if I'm on Zoom, obviously I'm pulling the cards for them, but I really like it when they can touch the cards, they pull them out, they can see them, we can start talking about what could that mean, and I do an interesting spread that really takes over an hour to do, and the story gets richer and richer, and we go back and start talking about like what could this mean and how would this change, and it's very personal and it's very in depth. If like if somebody says, oh, I only need a 15-minute reading, which sometimes when I do the psychic fears they're that. And that's okay. You have to set an expectation and you don't pull as many cards. But if someone's coming with a real issue, then I want to be able to spend that time with them. And, if it takes an hour and a half, it takes an hour and a half. It's, so yeah, personal, I think. I wouldn't be like, pulling a card and saying, here's your card for the week. I'd want to have
Right.
that connection.
Right.
To me, the connection is important. And that's why I say heart to heart. It's that kind of energy, not,
Well, and I've always asked this too of folks who read tarot. It's what happens when you're working with someone and the reading isn't necessarily something that person
wants to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's ways of saying it nicely. And sometimes my mouth gets ahead of my brain, and things just come out, and I just, and it's not harmful. It's just, something will pop up, and it just, and they're like, oh, especially if it's like deep, dark secret. And I'm like, it's safe here. You came for a reading. I'm not going to tell your story to anybody. And quite honestly, it erases. Like you said, I had done something for you, and I do not remember. Somebody said, oh, do you remember when I'm like, I have no memory of it. And I don't want to have that memory because what do I need that for?
Why are you
And
going to carry that?
right. And it doesn't, if the person comes back, I'm going, oh, well, the last time you had this card, I don't remember that. So it's like a fresh start each time. And I think that's important because, circumstances change and issues change for people. I have a lot of repeat people who, come, I have my monthly people and, that come and, it's always a little bit different. So.
And don't you think that happens through all the modalities that we...
Yes, and there's other,
and anyone
sure.
that we serve.
Yeah.
We're very careful about keeping things right here. And everybody's on a different level too, with where they are and what they're doing and what they're understanding. So
What was I going to ask you, Georgeanne? Well, so you said that channeling is something that you're very interested in or has been amplified in your life the last few years. Are there certain facets in the metaphysical world that you can't wrap your head around or don't talk to you for one reason or another? And this is for you as well, Karen. Obviously certain things not ring true to you, but just a more natural
Right.
for you to express yourself through. But are there things where it's like, that's...
I think, I like a little bit of everything. I'm like a dabbler. So I'm like, I'll doing the dowsing. We got the dowsing rods. Her brother made them. We were doing things with it. I'm like, well, this is pretty cool. So it's like more tools and it's always interesting. There's really nothing I would be like, I don't want to do that. Just if it's something my gut goes not to do that, then I won't because I've learned to listen to that. But everything we do is done from a higher vibration with really love energy. So I feel perfectly safe in it. And some things are more interesting to me than others. I mean, that's just, as individuals, we all have things we like and things that are like, like I like the table tipping. I don't love it because my back hurts after a while. So, there's,
I guess I like it because the vibration gets so high.
It does.
It gets
It's
so high
overwhelming.
and it becomes fun. And you think that being with spirit maybe shouldn't be fun, but it is.
The heat actually rises in the room. Like we keep the heat down low, like it'll be like 62, 63. It's up to 70.
Yeah.
Like the room just like.
And you'll see healing for people that have never experienced it before, and to have spirit come in and answer their questions, maybe things that they never knew before about the person that's coming to visit. It's really healing. And spirit can also, has shown us emotion and actually love. Like the last time we were here, we had this woman that had spent a lot of time trying to connect with her dad. She loved her dad and he passed a while ago, and she didn't feel like that she was getting messages. She was a very quiet woman, but he did come in and he was quiet and we had conversations. The table was tipping very gently. At the very end, the table tipped right to her lap, like it was a hug for her. And we all just got tears. It was like so appropriate and so understanding that that's what it was, that he loved her and wanted her to know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty special.
Yeah.
Good. Let's see. Corey Sandersfile has a question back in the chat about the Merkaba? Is that, hold on. Sandra. All going back. Silly question probably. But do you ladies use what is called the seed of life, the Merkaba?
The Merkaba.
The Merkaba.
Oh, it's sacred geometry.
Yeah.
So yes, if we're doing
Yes.
like
We've done clearings,
like it's a good clearing tool that we've used. I'm sure it has other things for vibration. That's not my strong point, but we have used the Merkaba.
Merkaba. I've never
That's
heard
what I
that
call it.
before.
Okay. Like macabre. I was thinking something weird.
I don't know. I was trying to, I was
hear
hoping
that.
I could just read
have to
it.
learn something new.
I've never heard of that.
Hi, Linda in the Netherlands. It's good to see you again.
Good.
Welcome back.
What time is it over there?
I don't know, whether it's 6 hours ahead, maybe 7,
Wow.
depending. So yeah, amazing. Night owl.
Night owls.
So yeah, if you're just tuning in, I am with Georgeanne and Karen of True North Hypnosis, truenorthhypnosis.com, in Essex, Massachusetts, the antiques capital of the world, folks.
And not meaning us.
No, but
No,
yeah, this is true. This is
but
true. Yeah.
close.
Yeah. So we're just getting to know them and their business a little bit, and of course, they're going to be regular contributors to this show. Now, people are going to ask. One, how they can learn more about you and find you. So truenorthhypnosis.com. They do also offer online classes as well, so you get to know them better that way. But also, they're going to ask about a YouTube channel because this is what they do. They're YouTubers. So
Okay.
do you have a channel? Is it in the works? So you
We
can just kind
started
of
it. We were
It's
having
in
a
the
hard
works.
time. We'll figure it out. It
Yeah,
was
I will say
blocking
this.
her.
Georgeanne and Karen, not super tech savvy.
No,
Yeah,
not
not
so
very.
much.
Yeah.
She does better than me. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's really...
I mean, but I do the website. I load up all the classes.
yeah, that-
But as far as like
Exactly.
posting, uploading things, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely have you back on Bridge Game. Of course, whenever you want, we'll have you back too. People have said that they would like to have you back, which is awesome. I think this was nice just to get this out of the way, just learn a bit about you. I think it'll help people formulate questions the next time around. And I don't know if we want to do something about a specific topic or practice or...
Oh, well, can we ask
Yeah, absolutely.
if there's anything that we've talked about so far that people are interested in, or
Yeah.
or should we find something like? Where is everybody on their level? You know, what level are they? Do they want to learn about the very basics of energy?
Mm.
You know,
The
how
chakras
our
system,
chakras,
or, you
our
know, or do
own
they-
personal energies.
Oh, so there you have it. So listen, so we need help from you tonight, folks. So yeah, what would you like to learn more about? Are there anything that struck truer to you tonight that you'd like to investigate further? We're all an open book here. So, oh yeah, 2 a.m. Woo! Oh, thanks for the resub, Linda, and thanks for all the thumbs up and stuff as well. So yeah, they're an open book. So oh, the hellos are going on too. Now, so what classes are you offering online right now for folks?
Tonight we have the tuning in for your soul with
For your soul,
Catherine Gerard.
yeah, and higher self.
We have
If you
channeling every month,
Mm.
which is not an introductory. We have done some. We'll start another introductory channeling. We've been meeting for I don't know, years, pretty much the same group. But new people come in who have some experience, so that's a nice monthly class. What else are we doing? We're going to start doing some.
well, there's the individual astrology too.
Oh, yeah,
Rob does a
yeah,
great
Rob
job,
does
but it's not a class. It would be
He'll do it.
it's
you know,
virtual.
virtual readings for people.
Ah.
Yep.
He's very
Yeah.
good.
Nydia's open at anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Karen and Georgeanne, you seem like great folks, and I really look forward to learning more from you both. Yeah, maybe you need to tell them what they should be. What road to go down here? Sandra, I so needed you all tonight. Thank you. I'm in my 2nd year of learning, all online.
Oh,
Nice.
that's great.
'Cause it's a
Good
great
for you.
community.
Mm.
It's nice
Yes.
to have a little in-person community too, if you can find that.
Yeah.
I think that's, yeah. Sometimes you might be surprised when you find that community. Like,
Yes.
we found them in some interesting places before we opened our own.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you got to find out someone who knows what you like, and the next thing you know, oh, we're having a group getting together to do blah, blah, blah. Oh,
Yeah, sometimes we just say, we're going to meet on Thursday night to do this. Do you want to come? And people will just show up and join us. And that's,
but
you know, that's just fun.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Val in Southwest Pennsylvania. Thank you, ladies. Excited to learn about anything.
Anything. Oh my goodness.
Well, I guess
We
I
have a
guess
lot
I
of
have a
things.
question.
We don't know enough to suggest, says Good Karma.
Okay.
I'm with Nydia, totally open, says Jessica.
So, Corey, I have a question for them.
Yeah.
would you do, would you sit and close your eyes and do a meditation?
Mm.
It would be a short one, but something to work on your energy. Would you do that?
Mm. I'm sure they would, Jake.
I'm very curious to see if that would actually be something that they would be interested in.
Here's the question from PC. What do you suggest I need to find out about crystals?
Oh, it's a lot for crystals, especially in this area. We have, I would just, you know, you can take an online class, and we were doing some crystal. Our crystal person has been ill, but there's a lot of good classes online. There's a lot of great books, you know, and sometimes just going to a shop that has all the crystals and just picking them up and what
Pick what
speaks to you. You know,
yes,
like crystals are like, you got to touch them. You got to, you know, any place that says you can't touch them, don't forget about it. You have to be able to feel whether that's the energy. Like if you, I love my pendulum, so that's a piece of, it's a rainbow tourmaline, and that spoke to me, and it's the tiniest little piece of tourmaline you've ever seen, and it is so powerful.
Really?
And I got that in Salem a million years ago, and back then it was like $90, and I left, and I'm like, it's too much. Like that was a lot of money back then. Not that it's not now, but it was like crazy money. And I got halfway home, and I'm like, damn. Right back, I had to have that, and to this day, and I've lost it like 3 times, and it keeps coming back.
Wow.
One time I was at a person's house doing a reading for her, and I went to pack up, and it was gone. I'm like, what? It was gone off the table, and I'm like, this is so weird. And then I'm starting to freak out because it's irreplaceable. Her dog had it.
Well,
Was in the dog's collar or something. It was
the dog?
Probably the
it
fairies
the
took it and
dog?
put it right in the collar.
And one time I lost it here, and it was gone for months.
Huh?
And one of the practitioners said, oh, I found this like little thing up, and I'm like, she sent a picture. I'm like, yes, I was wondering where that was, like wrapped around a chair upstairs.
Jeez.
Like, so it jumps around, but it keeps coming
You
back.
need to keep it around your neck.
I did. I wore it as a piece of jewelry.
Oh, yeah?
But I, you know, now I use it for.
Like I said, the audience, they love their pendulums. They're always asking about pendulums.
Pendulums are like, get a
Let's
pendulum, you
see.
can't go wrong.
I'm definitely going to need you in my future. Without Corey, I wouldn't know. Yes, yes, yes. So these are all yeses to more of you, of course.
More, okay.
Rudy Hernandez, yes. Dottie, absolutely. Lisa, yes. Good karma, yes, I would. This is probably to your question.
For meditation?
Yes. And I would.
Get that ready for the
meditation
next
would
time.
be great. Yes. Such loving energy. Yes to meditation, says Tish. Maybe we could do a group pendulum class and try to answer the same questions.
That would be fun.
Someone else, was it Nancy? It's all good, but I'm curious about the Merkaba?
Yeah, and I don't know enough about Merkaba. It's you can, you know, go online and Google it because it'll show you what it looks like. It's multi-dimensional, and it's for raising energy. And I know we use it for clearing when we're doing house clearings. You can use that and a few other symbols. It's a pretty powerful, sacred geometry. That is really all I know about it. I don't know
And
if you
that's
know
a
anything
whole-
more.
that's
It's
a
a
whole
whole
field
sacred
itself.
geometry is
Yes.
huge.
I've never even heard the term.
Yes. Elizabeth
Jeez.
could do that. We could call in a sacred geometry person.
Corey, you're learning something new every day.
This is some heavy stuff.
You know, like when we were first doing mediumship, I think I had someone make. Did you get one? It was a Merkaba. It was a piece of jewelry that we would wear, and so it would help to, you know, raise the vibration. So if there's something, it does that kind of thing. Where it puts you closer to spirit. It helps you to raise your energy up, and it's also a good protection. Like if you in a good clearing, like if you're clearing a space.
Yeah,
a
very
home or
cool.
grounds.
Oh, I want to mention as well that you can subscribe to Bridge Cape Band as a Bridge Buddy. And for just $2 a month, you not only support the channel, but we're giving away tons of prizes from the folks that we work with, such as Deborah Lupian gave away a soul introduction last week to a lucky
Is
viewer.
that the one you won?
Yeah, she did that for me, Deborah, which is amazing. By the way, I'm a Syrian. I was born on the planet Sirius. That's my star seed.
Okay.
I'm not bragging or
Star
anything, just throwing it out there.
Starseed.
See, the head's the crown chakra.
I'm a
You're, like,
communicator
still there.
and a giver, Karen. How's
Still
Yes.
up there.
yeah?
Yeah.
So and we've had tarot readers give away full 1 hour plus readings. Jill, you know Jill Diliberti? She's local. I grew up with her. She's here too, and she does tarot. And so she found a really cool safe space here as well. We've had her on the channel too. But actually, next Thursday we have people subscribe to the Bridge, and we have all their names, and I have them in a big prize wheel on the computer screen.
Lovely.
and we spin the wheel in real time and see what the winner, who the winner is.
What day do you do that? Is that like the
It's
Wednesday,
kinda
or is
random.
that's different. That's like
Oh, Win It Wednesday,
Is it
that thing?
Wednesdays
That's a
now?
different thing I do on
Local, okay.
Facebook, yeah. But actually, we're introducing this to our locals tomorrow, this new thing that we're doing. We're actually giving away a hand-painted mailbox from Pauline.
Of course you are.
Next Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So we showed that up a couple days ago. So if you want to be a bridge buddy, Anna Lee has the link for you there as well. And then who knows what else we'll be giving away. I did get an angel deck that Jill wanted me to give away too, but I might end up keeping it.
Oh,
I never-
you
What kind
probably
was it?
should
Do you
at this
remember what
point.
kind it was?
It was from, if you say the person's name, is Gray the last
Kyle
name?
Gray.
That's it.
Oh,
Kyle
nice.
Kyle Gray's very powerful.
Yeah.
He's
And a lot
very
of good
good.
things that he puts out on
Yes.
the internet too to watch.
So you know what was interesting when I did tarot for the first time? It's the one impression that I walked away from was I didn't know if that deck was the right deck for me, which is interesting.
So if you had a crystal, you could
Oh, really?
pendulum. Yeah.
See, now when Jill Deliberti comes over and does the show with me, she has like 90 decks. I think it's
bet.
86 or 87 decks. That's what we call it. She has a deck for any occasion. So if someone asks a question, she's like, yeah, it's this one.
Oh,
And
that's
it was pretty crazy. I couldn't believe.
Yeah.
First of all,
That's a
some
lot
of the artwork is stunning.
The artwork
You
is
know.
very
I have a
beautiful.
Salvador Dali deck.
You do?
That's like got the gold leaf all around it.
Whoa.
I mean, I can't read the darn thing because they're so bizarre.
It's too
but
ornate, or
it's well, his stuff was just so bizarre. You know, it doesn't like if it was like the Queen of Wands. It's not anything what his looks like, but I own it because it's just stunning. And the girls had bought it for me years ago, and it's beautiful. But I don't read it. I just look at it and it's pretty.
huh? Awesome stuff. Group pendulum class would be nice. Corey, I'll send you. I gotta get the pronunciation down. It's driving me crazy. A Merkaba with your cards, or Merkaba, or I don't know.
I've said Merkaba.
Yeah,
Merkaba?
Maybe I'm saying.
Who knows? I gotta get the derivation of the word too.
Possibility.
So cool. Awesome. More pendulum. People, they love the
People
pendulums.
like the pendulums. Okay, we can do that.
There you have it. Okay, awesome stuff. All right, ladies, let's wrap things up for now.
all
So once again, True North Hypnosis. This is Georgeanne Richards and Karen Ferris, longtime friends of mine. Is so psyched that we got to do this together.
Very fun.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, this was really
for
fun.
joining us. This was
Yes, it's
exciting.
been very fun.
Yeah, we'll do this again soon, right?
Yes, I think we picked a date, didn't we?
Oh right, wait, we're working. Oh yes, so we're supposed to be back in 2 Wednesdays from now. But wait, you were going to go to my house, but it might be easier if I just come back here
Whatever
again.
you
I
want
think,
to
too.
We're easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a pretty easy setup here too. So, Merkaba.
Is it Merkaba?
Merkaba.
Okay, I've been saying it wrong. Merkaba.
Thank you, Jessica. Oh my God, Jessica, she always sends me these candles from, is it Keolis? I got to show you these candles. They're gorgeous. Oh my God, and the way they're packaged, there's so much to it.
Beautiful.
And explanations of the scents and oh my God, they're stunning. I'll show you the website after when we log
okay,
off here
that'd be
too.
nice.
Okay.
Okay, we have to thank our moderators. I didn't see Thankful Mom, but always Thankful Mom. But Anna Lee Finch, the mama bear of the channel, and Christian Montone, the Prince of Bridge Cape Ann, as I like to call him, which is awesome. Thanks so much for your time, all your eyes and ears tonight, and being so open and welcoming for Georgeanne and Karen. We really appreciate it. We should be back with them in 2 weeks' time. I believe that's Wednesday, April 26th. We'll keep everyone posted on that, of course. So there we go. Georgeanne and Karen are saying it correctly. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so there you have it, folks. I got the link, Anna Lee. Thank you for that, and thanks for dropping the links for Karen and Georgeanne all night too.
Yes,
so.
thank you. We appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
All right, Bridge Cape Ann newsletter goes out first thing tomorrow morning. We'll have links to all the videos we've done, including this one tonight. I may replay this if you want to participate in a live chat over the weekend or something. Until next time, for Jan and Karen here at True North Hypnosis in Essex, Massachusetts. Bye for now.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
And then this actually lingers for an extra 5 seconds. So if I stop this video now, it cuts off our goodbyes.
Oh.
So I just do this for an extra couple of seconds or so. So let me say goodbye. Tish, grateful for this visit. Thank you, Corey and ladies. XX. Nydia, thank you so much, everyone. I love this. Keep an eye open, says Martha. We'll do that. Yeah, we'll let you know. Marby, we love you, Marby. Dottie, good night. Thanks, Corey and ladies. Wonderful show, says Val. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Georgeanne. And on and on and on. Awesome stuff.
Nice.
So, the candle link, Tish, Annalie has it up there. Keolis. So awesome. Okay, nighty night, Holland. See you.